Hello, YouTube. It's Ryan here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we are doing another light novel review. Today we are reviewing Reign of the Seven Spellblades, Volume 2. Now, this is written by Bokuto Uno and illustrated by Ruria Miyuki, and it's published by Yen Press under the Yen On imprint. The demographic here, as far as I can tell, is something along the lines of shonen. At least that's what I've been able to find. That's not really necessarily realistic in terms of like what the story actually contains, because most of the time the demographic is based on the manga, not actually the proper light novel. But the the demographic I found for it was shonen. Now, this does not currently have an adaptation in terms of anime, and it's actually kind of old if I remember correctly, so maybe it won't have one at any point. This is kind of a very interesting one in terms of that. I haven't seen any information about it, so I'm not necessarily sure that it's going to happen. But as far as I can tell, this is kind of going along relatively well. So I might get one relatively soon, right? And the genres here, which I did kind of out of order there, are fantasy and magic school. This is a very kind of Harry Potter-esque type of story. And the premise here is basically that this takes place 6 months after the start of their first year, a little bit after the end of Volume 1. And it deals with the characters getting into, their life at Kimberly University, and then getting roped into this kind of tournament arc kind of thing to decide who's the strongest first-year student in a very kind of classic Harry Potter-esque kind of thing. We have these bad guy kids, these kind of bullies that have this idea about magical superiority, kind of not liking that these randos happen to be very powerful, and so they're kind of trying to find a way to become stronger than them and kind of prove their superiority through this tournament arc kind of setup. And generally, I thought it was very good. I did enjoy it. I think it's very nice. I don't necessarily think that it's as good as the first one, but I think that it is still very good. It keeps the momentum going from the last one. And although there's some problems there that I thought could have been worked out a little bit, I think that this is a very classic kind of normal second volume for a good series. So yeah, now let's get actually, into the proper review here. The plot line here is solid. I think it's very well structured, and it keeps its momentum, like I mentioned earlier, from book 1, but it kind of shifts the focus from this big kind of hidden revenge story that we kind of got at the end of Volume 1 to this first-year tournament kind of thing, right? And it actually focused a lot on using this tournament and using the characters wanting to grow and get stronger as a way to develop the world around them. And so this kind of this volume kind of focuses a lot on this kind of exposition-heavy kind of world-building element to it, which is, it would be kind of like the middle of a Harry Potter book where we're kind of learning about stuff that is relevant to the climax of the story, but isn't kind of like there yet, if that makes sense. And so we kind of get a lot of this magic school setting development that I thought was really good. And we're getting back into the world, and we get the tournament accusation, or the tournament beginnings, I guess. And then we have this situation happen with one of the characters, Pete, who happens to go and end up being this type of metamorph magus kind of character, kind of like Nymphadora Tonks in Harry Potter, but also in a very kind of fun way and very interesting. I thought it was very good. I won't say too much more about it. One, because I'm not necessarily sure that I have the right vocabulary necessary to talk about this respectfully, but also because I think that's a very nice reveal that people should have on their own without any major, spoilers from me. So I'll just leave it at that kind of Nymphadora Tonks-esque kind of moment there. And then we get this kind of idea that the characters want to develop a hidden base in the dungeon area of the school. And then we kind of do that, and we have a pair of fights throughout the whole book. And generally, it was very good. I did enjoy it a lot. I like I said earlier, it's not my favorite. Like, it's not as good as Volume 1, but it definitely is a good installment, a good part of the series. And I can't wait for Volume 3, which seems to be already out, but also kind of what's going to start developing the story a little bit more. I think that the tournament arc here is going to probably last another couple of volumes, and I'm looking forward to that. So I'm looking forward to volume 3 for sure. Now, the characters here are good. They're kind of basically ignoring the ending of volume 1, which kind of allows Oliver to kind of maintain this general nice guy style, but like, because the reader knows, Oliver can also kind of start to develop himself in a more kind of edgy kind of character kind of way. And so I think it's good, and it's a very nice kind of way to continue the flow of the story without kind of really losing out on the big reveal of volume 1, but also on the kind of general naiveness of the characters that was also kind of prevalent in volume 1. And generally, I think they all kind of continue to grow. I think Pete specifically is the character that grows the most, and Chella has a very nice kind of moment there where she kind of is like, no, I want to be better, I want to get strong, and I like that. Oliver kind of stays stagnant, but I think that just makes sense for where his character is right now. He kind of has done something that he thought was going to be good for him, but he hasn't realized that maybe it isn't, and so it's kind of interesting there in that kind of sense. And then we have some new characters introduced. We get Shella's cousin, who is related to her in some other kind of more important way. And then we get these two other characters. We get this guy called Rosie, which is the guy that instigates the tournament. And then we get this other guy that happens to be from this warrior wizard family, and he has this kind of very crazy, like, battle shonen-esque early bad guy vibe to him. Like, he's a guy that has never lost, and he gets crazy when he loses, and so he has to kind of like grow out of this, and we get the characters kind of interacting with him in a way that's gonna help him, but is like still pretty antagonistic early on. Very nice. I don't remember his name, but he was pretty important to the last quarter of the book. But yeah, that's it for the characters. The world building here is good. It mostly develops the rest of the first years and kind of how the class is and what type of people are in the class, but also kind of develops the idea that, you know, first years are very generally very naive and very like easygoing the first year, but our main cast of characters goes above and beyond and kind of develops faster than everyone else. And so this kind of causes conflict with all the other kids around them. So it's very interesting. I think it was very nicely done there. And of course, it develops a lot more of the traditions and magic of this world. And I think that was very nice. But really, I think there wasn't anything too crazy. There was no new creatures. There was no new major development in terms of like weaponry or kind of crazy ideas like that. So I think it was generally just nice and useful, but not super like top tier, you know? Now, the art here was wonderful. It was just as good as Volume 1, if not better. I think that Riruya Miyuki does a very good job at this, and I like it a lot. There you go. That's Rosie and Oliver. Very nice. I think it works very well. I think I just really like it because it has this very nice vibe to it in it. Because I always had this idea that Harry Potter would be a very nice kind of animated TV show. Seeing these kind of characters that are not really Harry Potter, but exist in a Harry Potter-esque world, and this kind of very nice anime-esque vibe, actually is very nice for me. I really like it. I think it's a lot of that, but also the fact that the art is just so nicely done that kind of makes me happy. So yeah, fan service-wise, I think there's a bit, but it's very minimal. There's very not that much. I think that because of one of the characters' situations, which I kind of mentioned earlier, the fan service aspect there might be a little bit problematic for some people, but I think generally it shouldn't be too bad. I mean, a lot of people like characters like Astolfo and stuff, so it should be okay. It shouldn't really be a problem, but I mean, some people are going to definitely have issues with it, so I can't really tell you what it is because of the spoilers, but I think it should generally be okay for most people, as long as you're relatively open-minded and probably a little bit more left-leaning, but I don't know. It's just up to everyone's kind of individual preferences, right? So yeah, rating wise, I think it's a 4 out of 5. I can't remember what I gave volume 1, but it was probably a 5 out of 5 because I love that series so much, or I love that first volume so much. I thought it was very good. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. I think it's very nice. I think it's very good. If you like Harry Potter, you're gonna like this. If you like other magic school type manga and light novels like Mashal or King what's it called, Daimao? I can't remember what it was called. I did a review on it. It was the one where the kid was like sent to school, but he was destined to be the demon lord. I can't remember what it was called. And if you like stuff like that, I think you'll probably like this one. And, you know, honestly, this might be a better, more kind of progressive alternative to Harry Potter if you're someone that really prefers, you know, that kind of like idea of reading things with similar political leanings as you personally, right? So in that sense, I think that this is probably a very good idea to read if you like any of that stuff that I mentioned. But yeah, that's all I have to say. So yeah, I think this went a little bit faster than I thought it would, but I guess it really isn't that much to talk about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And of course, if you guys have other light novels you guys want me to review, let me know down in the comments. Chances are I'm already going to be working on a review for it, but if not, I'll probably pick up some of the recommendations you guys leave me down below. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys later.